"Are you sure the bastard is staying here?" Allan Thompson whispered to fellow ATA agent Dale Smith. They hid in the shadows of the 30-square-foot storage building, a good 300 feet from the suspect's house. Terrorism was the new game in town. The newly formed UN-sanctioned anti-terrorism agency had agents tracking down terrorist cells all over the world. But tonight, 4 special agents watched for signs of Thurman Wilson at the Texas red brick ranch-style home outside of Waco. When it came to extorting money for Colombian-based terrorist activities, he acted as a financier extraordinaire. Dale stroked his beard.
"One of our agents sighted Wilson with the woman earlier today in town. Then she came directly back here. Our agent lost track of him, though."
Allan fought the urge to break into Jenny Brant's house to ensure she remained safe. His black t-shirt dripped with sweat, not only from the 85-degree heat and humidity that hung heavily in the air, but from the anxiety that plagued him concerning the welfare of Wilson's latest conquest. Then, the woman appeared at the dining room window, her long red blonde curls cascading down her shoulders over a pale blue satin robe. She peered into the night as he and Dale stared at her in silence. The cicadas and crickets sang their raucous chorus as an owl hooted from a nearby tree. The stiff breeze swished through fields of corn across the street, and nearby, the sound of cows moving about in the darkness added to the country melody in the dead of the night. But the woman garnished all of Allan's attention for the moment. What kind of a woman would succumb to the charms of such a man? All of Wilson's lovers ended up dead. For the first time, Allan and his team saw one of his women alive before Wilson's thugs finished her off. Allan had an overwhelming desire to keep her safe, not because of how pretty she was, but because he couldn't stand the idea they might be too late to save her. If Wilson decided tonight she would be history. Yet, Allan couldn't jeopardize the case. If Wilson showed up, it would be the closest they'd ever gotten to apprehending the sick bastard. Jenny reached her hand up to the side of the window and tugged at something. A white shade drew down, lower and lower, until all he could make out was the shadow of her petite figure against the fabric. Then she moved away from the window and stood at another. Each time, she gazed into the dark. Was she looking for Wilson's return? Or was he in the house already? They couldn't be certain. By the time they located the place and scoped out the area, it had been too late to slip in a few bugs. Allan's gut clenched with concern. Nothing felt right about the woman or the situation. Was it because they'd found one of his lovers alive this time? After she shut the remaining shades, the lights in the house turned off, first in the kitchen, then the living area. The light in the bedroom flipped on after a few seconds. Agent Cameron Polanski moved toward them in the shadows, holding a thermos of coffee and a stack of styrofoam cups. Ruggedly built, with a cleft in his chin the size of the Grand Canyon, the man exhibited a pillar of calm under any circumstance.
"See anything?" "Ms. Brant pulled all the shades shut, then turned out the lights," Dale said. "No sign of anyone else in the house, though we can't be absolutely certain he's not in there. One of the agents thinks Wilson sighted him in town earlier today and may have spooked him." "What's her involvement in all this?" Cameron asked. Dale poked his boot into the grass. "Probably a pawn like the last one, and like all the others. Wilson likes a steady diet of young women, only they normally don't live long enough to tell any tales." The light from the bedroom turned off. Agent Samuel Stevens joined the group and nodded in greeting.
"The house is quiet. The woman must have gone to bed."
Allan and the others watched for any sign of movement on the roughly 10-acre-sized lots, the land split between each home in long, narrow rectangles, making for acre-sized front yards and 9-acre-long backyards. Live oak and native mesquite dotted the land, breaking up the level terrain. Next door, a handful of cattle stood sleeping. The occupants of the brick home there also slept. At 2 a.m, it was to be expected. Allan glanced over at the wood-framed house on the other side of hers. No lights on inside there either.